DS Gray. DS Gray.
Look, zoom in on the fire. They were waving at me. They were waving at me. One thing that has bothered me for a really long time is, I mean, you could see the papers. I didn't want to talk about it, but I feel like it's important to talk about this because no one else is, no one else has, nobody else wants to take this stand, but I'm going to be the person who takes the stand. Just for the sake of YouTube, we don't actually believe any of this, so we can keep our jobs. So nothing I'm about to say I truly believe in, but I have to say it, get the information out there. The wrestler Chris Benoit, if you're unaware, he was accused of doing some very bad things, and the wind's probably going to be crazy, but those very bad things that he was accused of are, they're not good in the slightest. They're really not good. He was accused of finishing not only his wife, but also his son, and then finishing himself. And I don't know how well that the story stands with me. There's an official story out there. However, I don't know how much I believe it. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that was with that case. And I want to personally say that it's somewhat kind of like the Jeffrey Epstein case. I mean, we're all well aware of what Jeffrey Epstein did. And then when he was arrested, they told us that he killed himself. I don't know if that's true or not. And it's very fishy, and we'll come back to that, but I think it's very similar to the Chris Benoit case, because, okay, either one of two things happened. Either he did it, or he didn't do it. And, honestly, obviously, I believe the narrative that he did it because the police and, the researchers said he did it, so we have to believe them, but, I personally, I'm just curious about the narrative that they said of how he did it. I mean, so let's get into some of this. I mean, I have some points here. For one, he had like major CT. I'm talking major concussions, which isn't shocking when your finishing move is a diving headbutt. So he would jump off of the top rope and hit a man with his head. In 2020, we know that that's a bad idea, but, this dude would jump off ladders and do it, and bust himself open and give himself CTE. It was reported he had the brain of an 80-year-old man. Those aren't the same age. So how could he have had the brain of an 80-year-old man if he was 40. So they also found testosterone, steroids, stuff like that in his blood, which, it sounds weird, but he was a wrestler. And at that time, probably still today, probably not just at that time, but wrestlers were taking heavy steroids. Heavy steroids. I mean, look at any wrestler from that time and tell me that they don't have steroids in their body. So he was taking testosterone, which was basically a doctor-prescribed thing. There's a family over there. It was a doctor-prescribed thing because he was taking steroids, so he needed to get that extra testosterone in his body. Don't know what the point I was trying to make with that. His cell phone, to this day, is missing. His cell phone is missing. Where is his cell phone? His cell phone. Hi. How's it going, guys? Yeah, Chris Benoit couldn't have killed his family. He had a cell phone that he was using to contact people. Obviously, everybody has a cell phone. And the day of the stuff that they say he did, he was talking to Chavo Guerrero on the phone. Chavo Guerrero then said that Chris Benoit told him that there was a knock on his door. So Chris goes to answer the door. And at that moment, there is a scuffle he hears. And the phone abruptly hangs up. And then Chris wasn't able to be contacted for, a couple of hours. And when Chris comes back on, he didn't say anything about it. So who was at the door? Who was at the door? That's what I'm asking. And he kills his family. And he kills his family. And his family is now dead. He kills his family, and now his family is dead. But after his death, after the time they say he died, on Sunday, texts from his phone were sent out. They were sent out. How are texts from a dead guy sent? Who was texting? No one's ever answered this. No one's ever even looked into it. You know why? Because they don't want to. They're hiding something from us. There was a Wikipedia page that said his wife Nancy, I think her name was Nancy, his wife Nancy died 14 hours before the bodies were discovered. And before they said 14 hours before she died, there was a Wikipedia page claiming she died. I mean, I don't need to tell you guys why that's a little fishy. I mean, I think that's fishy. I think anybody would think that's fishy. What was the official reason they said? Oh, it was just some guy. It was just some troll who made up a fake death hoax. 14 hours before she's found murdered. Listen, I'm all for fake death hoaxes, okay? I think they're hilarious. But why Nancy Benoit? Why Nancy Benoit? If you're gonna do a fake death hoax, do fucking Carl from Mr. Beast, okay? Not Nancy Benoit. What's the point? Who's getting pranked by that? Unless they were trying to prank Chris Benoit. There's just a lot. There's just a lot that goes into this case that, it was in 2007. 15 years later, nobody really cares anymore. But somebody has to, and I'm going to be that person that cares. As I said, this case was a lot like the Jeffrey Epstein case, which, listen, the Jeffrey Epstein thing was way more obvious that it was an inside job, okay? Everybody and their mom pretty much believes that Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. I have the Wikipedia. Yeah, I'm using fucking Wikipedia, but shut up. He's in prison. He's supposed to get checked on every 30 minutes. But that night, the two guards that are supposed to do it just so happen to fall asleep for a couple of hours. Okay, they just so happen to take a nap that night. And when they wake up and go check on him, so they show up to the cell where Epstein has been murked. And they don't take any pictures of the incident. They start cleaning up the room. They start cleaning up the bodies. Instead of taking pictures of how they found it. You don't got to tell me that, or you can't tell me that that is against policy, okay? If you come to a crime scene, take pictures of the crime scene and then clean up. I mean, listen, what? You don't want your carpets, or I don't think there's carpets in prison. You don't want, there be blood on the floor in a prison? Huh? Women's prisons have to deal with it because they have periods. There's 2 cameras pointing at a cell, 2 cameras, and they both just so happen to malfunction. They just so happen to malfunction. And there's a third camera involved, but the people who did the investigation just seem to say, you know, that camera's unusable. We can't use it. Can't use the third camera, so we don't have any camera evidence of what happened in that cell. So here's this high-ranking, top of the line pedophile ringleader. And he just so happens to go to jail with dirt on some of the most powerful men, not only in America, but across the world, across the globe. The most powerful pedophiles. And how many times are they taking this trip? So, yeah, when he gets caught, he just so happens to kill himself. He just so happens to kill himself. Hello, everybody. Yes. Hello. You guys found the secret guy. Epstein just so happens to kill himself. And I mean, you don't gotta be smart to know that that's a little fishy right there. So you know, it's just too coincidental. All the people closest to him, Epstein's lawyer didn't believe it. Epstein's very own lawyer didn't believe it. Okay, that's not enough for you? Epstein's brother didn't believe he did it. His own brother. His own brother was quoted as saying, I could see if he got a life sentence. Okay. I could see him taking himself out at that point. But he had a bail hearing coming up. And Epstein had the money for bail. I think we all know that. I think we all know Epstein. He wasn't broke, okay? He's not me, okay? I owe Discover like $2,000 right now, okay? You think I have money? I make $400 every 2 weeks. Okay, I'd kill myself. But Epstein? Later. The judge was continuing the trial. And what happens to the judge? It just so happens that, you know, somebody posing as a mail delivery person ran up on her house and shot and killed her son. In the Epstein trial, a judge got her son killed. You don't think that there's powerful men involved in this, okay? You don't think the Clintons are doing this? Let's remember one thing. These are banking types. These are big money executives who do whatever they can to take money from good working people like you. These people are not to be trusted, okay? People who do stocks, people who are higher up in banks, okay? A bank teller, okay, you can respect them. They're probably not going to be involved in the Epstein death. But the CEO of Wells Fargo, you gotta watch out for that person. You gotta watch out for the CEO of Wells Fargo. That's who I think did it. The other point I wanted to make, and this is getting off of the concept of these conspiracies that we don't believe in, guys. Remember, we don't believe in these. But it's this idea of pictures with Jeffrey Epstein. So People will see a picture of, Bill Clinton with Jeffrey Epstein. They'll see a picture of Donald Trump with Jeffrey Epstein. They'll see a picture of all these different people with Jeffrey Epstein and automatically assume that that means that that person is doing evil stuff in their personal life. Listen, this was one of the world's biggest financiers, one of the world's greatest financiers, okay? So obviously, he had some big hitters as clientele, okay? So he had some of the world's biggest people, okay? And if you're working with somebody, you might take a picture with them, okay? But does that mean that Epstein was offering every last motherfucker that came along a trip to Epstein Island? Just because he knew them? No. Some of them, he was just trying to line his pockets and make some Skrilla. Pictures with Trump, pictures with Bill Clinton, pictures with Stephen fucking Hawking shouldn't just automatically mean that those people did bad things. I mean, listen, they probably did, but we shouldn't think the pictures are why they did bad things, okay? The pictures shouldn't be our evidence, okay? They did real bad things, but let's not use the pictures. I mean, listen, the Prince Andrew story, that's pretty believable. Okay, so hypothetically, let's say that I was gonna kill my mom. Hypothetically, let's say I was gonna fucking murder my mother, okay? Stab her. Okay, like the Diary of a Wimpy Kid guy. No, he shot his mom. Yeah, the Diary of a Wimpy Kid guy. Let's say I'm gonna shoot my mom in the head, okay? Does that mean this picture of me and Tim is automatically makes Tim bad, okay? What about this picture of Carson and me? Does that mean Carson is a bad person? Let's take it a step further. What about this picture of me and Steve-O, okay? Or Sami Zayn? Does that mean that, these people are bad? What about this picture of me and Nate? Never mind. Epstein probably didn't kill himself. But let's just kind of go about this the right way. It's going to come out in 20 years, I mean, we know the FBI killed Martin Luther King. So in 20 years, we'll figure out the FBI agent who killed Epstein. Here's the last thing I want to say. I'm not going to. I'm never going to. But if I do decide to kill myself, okay, if I do decide to end this misery that we call life, not that I'm going to, but if I ever do it, I promise I'll make it as obvious as possible that I really, really, really killed myself. Okay, I'm gonna make it so obvious that there can't be any sort of conspiracy. Now listen, I don't we happen to do this the day that they're giving fucking firefighter tours. I don't think that I will ever kill myself. I really have nothing left to say about it. I mean, remember, we don't believe anything I just said. No, we don't. There's nothing we believe about what I just said. But I gotta say it. But I guess that's it for this manifesto. Thank you guys for joining me. And we'll see you next time. Chris Benoit was framed. The Crippler. The Crippler. I'm gonna throw this in with one random order at CobySucks.com. Okay.